game where they have to mine and people guess what they're mining.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so we all know now that if they go like this or like this, it's the big screen, and if it's like this, it's television. And all of these mines are all ingrained in there. We don't realise it, but they're not here.
Right.
You know.
They haven't grown up with TV.
Yeah. And all of the expressions of this in the West, if you ask somebody to do something, they're going to, they go, yeah. Can you do that? Yes. But here, it's the other way. I call it the upside down nod.
Right.
And then there's the upside down wave. In the West, if you were beckoning somebody, you say, but here they go. So many things. That's just one or two. There are hundreds of different ways.
How so you're not really, generally you're not impacted too significantly with power outage. It's an inconvenience for a couple of days if it's out a couple of days, but it's not a big deal for you because you don't have air conditioning. The only risk I guess is food that you may have in the refrigerator.
Now water is the biggest inconvenience because the pump to the well is electric.
Right. But where is that?
It's down at the well.
On the hill.
Yeah.
I saw the 2 barrels.
The barrels are the storage. And
So it pumps from there up to the barrel.
Up into the barrels, and then it's fed, amazingly, those 2 barrels feed all of our houses. And we're never without water, unless there's a power outage. Then the barrels will drain down, and we may be without water.
Unless you go down and get a pipe.
If it's a whole day, then we have to conserve water. But we're not without drinking water now because we don't depend on the well.
So what about, would it be a good idea to get I'm not a fan of solar power. I think on the grand scale it's one of the biggest scams they're trying to push on these people, but for a situation like this where, you know, if you have no power for 3 or 4 days, at least you could have a solar backup for the well.
3 or 4 days would be
really unusual.
We'd have to be in the middle of a crisis for 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
So it's
a typhoon.
It's really, and typhoon for some reason. Ever since I've been here, we get typhoons several a year, and we're never impacted. We always, you know, that they're not very good at predicting the path anyway. And it's within parameters of hundreds of miles. It could go this way or that way. I always think that would be a marvellous job to have, would be in the weather forecast.
Well, you could be so inaccurate and still get paid.
You can say anything, and then
you get
say, yes, well, it turned and went the other way. And nobody says anything, and you still get paid. And still be called good. A little bit like the banks, you know, when the whole world financially crashed, and the banks still got their massive performance bonuses.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow. That amazes me.
Tiger.
What?
Nanay, gipang mo tubig, nay.
But if you're going to be here long, and I'm being the hypocrite here because I don't speak enough of the language myself, but you really should know the language. Because all the time you're saying, what happened? What did they say?
I started to learn Tagalog a little bit. I was doing an online program.
Yeah.
And she speaks Ilonggo. And her family speaks Ilonggo. It's totally different. So now I'm learning a little bit of Ilonggo, but there's much fewer resources for Ilonggo than there is for Tagalog.
And that's a dilemma. Do you learn the language that everybody around you speaks, but it's not spoken generally? Like if you turn the television on and you want to be up on what's happening in the world, you need Tagalog. If there are movies, if there are a series, for entertainment-wise and news-wise, you need Tagalog. But for going on with family and understanding what's going on, like Beth just spoke out there, what did she say? No idea.
Well, I thought I would learn a little bit of Ilonggo out of respect for the family.
Yeah.
Just enough. Just a hello, a few key phrases, and that's it. Rosie.
See, what I find is it's relatively easy to learn some phrases. Like when I used to take Talik when she was much smaller on the motorcycle, right? And we take her on the back of the motorbike. But when we got back, I wanted to know, you know, how did you enjoy it? And I said to Beth, how do you say, did you have fun? So I learned that phrase.
Right.
But whatever she said back,
You have no
I have no
idea.
idea. So you can say, people all the time were saying to me, where have you been? That was a very, if I would meet anybody coming on the path,
Right.
they would say, so I could learn that phrase of where have you been? But then when I said, if I said, oh, they're asking where have I been? Well, I've been to Taliban. And then they would say something else, thinking that I now speak the language.
Right. Completely lost there.
And I'd be lost. So that's a dilemma. It's not just a matter of learning one language. You've got to come and you've got to learn 2 languages.
Or 3. Because then, if you're in Cebuano, there's a whole nother ball of wax.
Well, don't they speak Visayan?
Yeah, it's the same. This is the accent.
It's the same.
Because
Yeah.
here in Philippines, there's a lot of languages. It depends the places.
Yeah.
Like Pampanga, Kapampangan, Batangas,
Yeah.
Batangueño, Cebu, Cebuano, Iloilo, Ilonggo, and my place Bacolod is Ilonggo also.
Yeah, I was in Pampanga for a
Bicolano.
while, and I sometimes I say something in Kapampangan, and I'm surprised that it's Filipino. Why don't you know?